Most Valuable and Wanted George Washington Rare Stamps Part 4. The 1966 5-cent stamp is part of the series called Prominent Americans series, dedicated to people who played an important role in the history of the United States. You will be able to see on the center the bust of George Washington, first President of the United States of America. He held his political role for 8 years, from 1789 to 1797. Up. His surname is reported Washington, followed by the nominal value of the piece, 5 cents of the American dollar. To the left, the written United States. This piece features excessive shading around the lower portion of Washington's face. In fact, he was nicknamed by the public as Dirty Face because of this shading, which at first seems to devalue the stamp, but which actually makes the piece acquire its value. Postage stamp issued on February 22, 1966. Was printed using the rotogravure method. A drawing to print. It was transferred to the surface of a cylinder with recessed matrices. Dots or strokes engraved with ink on paper. Today this stamp is worth $31. The 1989 25-cent stamp depicts the landscape, which features Mount Rainier, also known as Tahoma, is located in Washington state. 4,392 meters high. Emerges from the Cascade Range of the Pacific Northwest. A large number of American Indians lived in this territory. The first Europeans. They arrived to occupy the territory at the end of 1700. Up. The writing Washington is shown. A little lower. The date 1889. Year of official entry into the Union, thus becoming the 42nd state to be part of the Confederation. Bottom right. The nominal value of the piece, 25 cents of the US dollar. Postage stamp issued in 1989. On the occasion of the 100th anniversary of the state's entry into the Union. It had a circulation of 264,625,000 copies. It has an 11 serration. Printed with the photo engraving method, where an aluminum surface with words and drawings. They are engraved using a computer with a photomechanical film. Today this stamp is worth $60. The 3-cent stamp of 1932. It was issued on the occasion of the 200th anniversary of the birth of George Washington, born in 1732. The post office announced its own commemorative stamp series to adjust the new tariff for first-class letters 3 cents. On the center, you will be able to see the bust of the first President of the United States of America depicted. Above, the written United States postage. Down, the surname with the nominal value of the piece next to it. 3 cents of the American dollar. Postage stamp issued on June 16, 1932. It has an 11 by 10.5 serration. Printed using the rotogravure method. Today it's worth $75. The 3-cent stamp of 1871. It is part of the tax stamp series, issued specifically to pay taxes on goods such as alcohol and tobacco. In fact, it proved the legal purchase of goods and services. On the center, you will be able to see the bust of George Washington. On the side, the nominal value of the piece, 3 cents of the American dollar. Down, the written proprietary, which indicated the proven purchase of the good or service. This piece, it has the particularity of having a black cross-shaped stamp imprinted on the image, a peculiarity that you can find in a few thousand other similar pieces. Detail which increases its value by 3 cents. For $85. The 2-cent stamp of 1928 depicts a George Washington on his knees. In fact, after the big defeats and losses of men had during his command during the Revolutionary War, Washington decided to camp at Valley Forge in Pennsylvania, a strategic territory where he could defend himself and obtain food, thanks to the agricultural supplies and trade routes that existed in the area. Above, you will be able to see the writing that commemorates the event. Valley Forge. To the left, the date 1778. Year of temporary stop and encampment of his army. In Valley Forge. To the right. 1928. Year of printing of the stamp. And the 150th anniversary of the event. Above. The written. US postage. All below. The American motto. In God We Trust. With the nominal value of the piece next to it. 2 cents of the US dollar. Postage stamp issued on May 26, 1928. It had a circulation of 101,330,000 copies. And today it is worth $315. The 1-cent stamp of 1925 is part of the Lexington Concord series. Collection of U.S. stamps honoring the Revolutionary War. Commemorating the patriots who gave their lives in the ideals of freedom and independence. On the center, you'll see a depiction of George Washington's army in Cambridge, Massachusetts. At that time it was decided that it was indispensable. Choose a commander to lead the Continental Army. Among many characters, Washington was chosen, who led a command of 14,500 men, gathered in Cambridge, ready for the War of Independence. Up. The writing is shown. United States postage. Down. The writing from the Lexington Concord series. On the side. The number indicating the nominal value of the piece. 1 cent of the US dollar. Postage stamp issued on April 4, 1925. Was issued in 15,615,000 copies. Printed with the rotogravure method. It has an 11 serration. And today it is worth $375. The 3-cent stamp from 1851 to 1855. It was issued to cover the cost of sending the letter. At a distance of no more than 3 miles. Payment had not yet been made in advance. Therefore one could pay for the postage as soon as he received the letter. On the center, George Washington is depicted, facing with the torso to the left. Up, the writing US postage. Down. The nominal value of the piece. 3 cents of the American dollar. The design was engraved on a small piece of flat steel. Copied onto a roll. It was made with reliefs. And finally transferred onto a plate. Postage stamp first issued on October 6, 1851. It had a circulation of 340 million copies. And today it is worth $1,000 in the philately market.